Kumar Jhawar, who's the Chairman and Managing Director at PTC India, joining us on the phone line. This is on the important news that has IEX lower. The CERC speaking about market coupling in a phased manner. Thanks a lot, Mr. Jhawar, for joining in. Your initial reaction on this, your belief around, why do you think this makes sense according to you? And what's your rationale? And what would your steps from here on be for here?
Number one, it is a very good development because you see in the collective segment, there was practically no competition. Now all the three exchanges would have an equal shot and equal opportunity to serve the customers. So whoever is able to serve the customers better would be able to grab the market share. Currently, all the volumes were concentrated in the incumbent exchange, which was IEX. Last year, I think around 61 billion units were traded in the DAM segment in the IEX. Now, if a fair share is captured by other exchanges, so I believe it will be good for the market, good for the constituents, and good for the people whom the exchange is serving.
Mr. Jhawar, thank you so much for joining us. Vivek joining in from the research desk as well. Sir, a couple of questions. Sir, currently, what is the total quantum of your ownership in HPX? We believe that you are one of the majority holders there. Number two, what is the current market share, especially in the day-ahead market, where there is going to be immediate implementation as early as January 2026? What is the current market share that you enjoy over there? And by the end of the year, what will be the market share that you will be able to take, given the fact that right now IEX enjoys dominant position?
Yeah, so number one, we own around 22% in the IEX. We collectively own a majority holding in the IEX along with the Bombay Stock Exchange and the ICICI Bank. So our holding is around 22%. That is number one. Number two, currently practically all the volume in the collective segment, which is the DAM and RTM put together, is being served by IEX. Almost more than 99%. There are good reasons for that if a new buyer or new seller is coming to the market, he would like to go where the liquidity is. Since there was no market coupling, no one was able to place any bid on any other exchange, even if he wanted to. So we believe that given the chance of coupling, now exchanges would have to compete on services. And on that, I think we being a very, very new and advanced technology platform, we will be able to get a good market share.
Okay. Mr. Jhawar, I believe you said you have ownership in HPX, right? That is the quick correction that I wanted to confirm with you.
Yeah, HPX,
right.
HPX, that is what I said.
Yeah. So the other question that we have is, the current transaction charges at IEX are close to 4 paise per unit. In fact, it is amongst the highest as far as, global power exchanges are concerned. What are the transaction charges you are actually, going ahead and charging your customers? And do you see scope to bring it down further? We believe that will actually help shift away volumes from IEX. And, going forward, do you feel that there can be a 33% market share each across all of the three exchanges?
Yeah, I believe the exchange which is able to provide services would be able to win the market share. That is number one. And definitely the service charges would be one variable in this equation. We will see what kind of benefits we can pass on to the customers, whether that can be loyalty-based, whether that can be transaction-based, whether that can be volume-based. That has to be seen. A strategy would have to be evolved. But definitely this competition would be good for the customers, good for the market.
Good for customers in the market, Mr. Jhawar, but what we want to understand is, in the current infrastructure that there is, do you think competition would be able to provide the service that IEX is doing? And because IEX will be worried about, their market share going to the others, they would not focus as much on the service as well. So do you think incentivizing one player would have been good for service as against giving it to everyone, and as a result of which maybe customers not benefiting despite the intentions being the same?
You see, monopoly has never been good. It can never be good for the services, can never be good for the customers. If a monopoly, even if not dictated by law, but because of the reality of the situation, if all the volume is concentrated in one exchange, then you can understand that is the human behavior. So I believe competition is good, and since this market coupling provides a fair chance to compete on services, so I think customers will be benefited. There is no doubt about that.
Mr. Jhawar, the other important question, just taking a cue from what Mangalam asked you. Number one, do you have the necessary technology in place to actually go ahead and allow for the price discovery process? Currently, majority of the volumes are at IEX, so we believe it's happening over there. So by Jan 2026, will that be on board for you? Or in case you don't, would you be taking the price discovery process, or would that shift to Grid India?
No. Absolutely, we are absolutely capable of. HPX is absolutely capable of discovering a price in a collected market, and this market,
Okay.
coupled market also. So I see absolutely no challenge on that. Our platform in the HPX is quite capable of handling anything which is required of it to be done.
So, from the point of view of PTC India, where do you believe the revenues of this particular exchange will scale up to as part of your overall consolidated financials? And typically, we understand margins over here are quite high. So, consolidated basis at the end of FY27, if you could quantify it for us, what kind of contribution you could see?
You see, we have to examine that question from two angles. Number one, what were the current margins and the current revenue in the collective segment in the exchanges? So if I say that DAM volumes were around 61 billion units, so that roughly translates at the rate of 4 paise per unit into 240 crore rupees. Now, if I say that all the three exchanges are equipoised to garner the market share, that again would become a sizable chunk, let us say around 80 crore or so. So that would be based on what the market size currently is. And secondly, currently HPX was able to contribute only 10 crore rupees to me total profit. So this would be a huge jump for the PTC consolidated financials. But that remains to be seen as to how much market share this HPX is able to gain. Second thing I would like to highlight that still, although we are trading around 240 billion units or so in all segments put together in short-term markets, but there is a potential to grow the trade and the market itself in the exchanges. So I think a major growth has to come from that. And I think all the three exchanges can survive.
Understood that, sir. Mr. Jhawar, so you actually mentioned that out of the 240 crore, you did a quick division by 3 coming to the 80 crore. At this point of time, you've not really accounted for any transaction cost reduction. That is number one. We take your point on board saying that volumes have been growing on the short-term market itself. So we do see that particular probability play out. But realistically, within the first couple of years, do you actually see an 8x jump in the contribution as far as revenues are concerned from HPX?
A lot of work is required to be done. I mean, being able to transact is one thing, but reaching out to the customers and making them understand the benefits of this HPX platform is a task. Of course, we have been in touch and we have pan-India relationships with almost all the utilities and all the generators. So I think it's a reasonable assumption that we'll be able to get a significant market share.
Sir, a couple of quick questions. In terms of operations, suppose there are a buyer and a seller. A buyer at IEX, will he be able to sell the same product or the same units on another platform? Is that essentially what market coupling is? And number two, the CRC circular also talks about coupling coming about as far as the RTM market is concerned. So what is the kind of opportunity that you see over there?
You see, the second question first. Currently, this DAM segment is around 61 billion units, and the RTM segment, if I remember correctly, would be around 35 billion units. So that is also an important market, and that can also happen in due course of time whenever coupling is allowed on that. There is a roadmap, and I need to see how things evolve. So that is the second thing. What was your first question?
What kind of volumes are you expecting, Mr. Jhawar, in the first year, as soon as this happens for you?
I mean, it would be reasonable for me to believe that if everyone is competing for the same space and if his services are kind of competitive, then this market would be equipoised and might be divided equally. That would be my starting belief, but then we would like to differentiate ourselves by better connect with customers and better services.
So what market share are you targeting? Ideal scenario would be one-third, one-third, one-third. But what is it that you're targeting realistically?
I would not call that ideal scenario, but I would call it a reasonable scenario. Ideally, so I would like to gather as much as possible.
But no, realistically speaking, what kind of volumes do you think you can get? Or what kind of share do you think you can get initially as things ramp up?
You see, I'm reasonably confident that this exchange, if it plays its cards right, it should be able to get at least one-third share.
By when? By when?
Let us say 1.5 years, maximum 2 years.
Okay, all right, Mr. Jhawar, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So that's PTC India talking to us. They do own 22% in HPX, and that's the reason they would benefit. And they are saying that it would definitely help them in terms of market coupling. But the market share and how much they gain Jan 2026 onwards will be something that they'll need to see, which will eventually go into the consolidated profits of PTC India. As you can see, the stock is up around 4.6%. We'll take a break now, but a reminder for our viewers, unlock a world of exclusivity, expertise and influence. Become a member of CNBC-TV18 Access, our premium members-only experience on CNBC-TV18.com. The membership includes access to CNBC-TV18's flagship events, interaction with our journalists along with curated studio tours, e-learning sessions and masterclasses, and curated lifestyle benefits.